to ancientherbalcare.com. The link is at the top line of the description box. Do not wait. I got my personal endorsement, ancientherbalcare.com. Go click the link. Get yourself some beautiful products.
I want to move over to the Emmy Awards, and I was looking at a post that 50 Cent, he posted it up, and it was an article by Variety where it says no actors of color win at the Emmys despite record nominee lineup. And 50 Cent put a post up, listen, the Emmy still has a separate colored bathroom for colored folks. You know what I mean? And pretty much bringing out the fact that the Emmys had a record number of black nominees, but nobody won. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think 50 Cent feels that way because, he makes movies and he's good at it. And he wants to win Emmys because that'll help him get paid. And I respect that. Personally, I think that, maybe I'm a little more radical, but I just really think we need to stop giving a fuck about what white people think about us. I've always thought the Emmy Awards are bullshit. I don't watch it. The Grammys are bullshit. I don't watch it. The Academy Awards are bullshit. I don't watch it. Because if you look at the history of all these award shows, go Google. Everybody listening should go Google the history of the Academy Awards. The Academy Awards were made up. It was when the movie industry, in the book called How the Jews Invented Hollywood, it's not anti-Semitic or anything like that, but in this book, they explain that the Academy Awards were invented by movie industry executives because they didn't want to pay the actors. So they said, look, these actors have big egos. Let's create this bullshit award so we can stroke their ego as opposed to actually giving them real money. And that's where the Academy Awards came from. So the same way white folks can, stop making them into gods. To me, their godlike nature is that they can manifest an idea and make it into something real. Like they can create a Pulitzer Prize and suddenly everybody thinks it means something. Well, really somebody just made it up, right? Well, we have that same godlike ability. We have that same ability to manifest. We have that same ability to create things, right? So it's the same. So rather than subscribing to their made up bullshit, why don't we at least subscribe to our own made up bullshit, right? Why don't we have other awards that come from us, that matter to us, that we create, that we control, where we can validate ourselves as opposed to looking for validation from others? I think that's a more liberated way to live. So I care nothing about the Emmy Awards. I really don't. I can't watch it. I could probably watch it maybe 60 seconds and then I got to do something else.
So what, in your opinion, because we talked to Benzino, and he used to own the Source magazine, which had the Source Awards at one time, was the most prominent black awards out there, at least in hip hop. So why is it that we don't, have our own awards? Because we supposedly had BET. I think Bob Johnson sold that. Anything that we, build up, when it gets to a certain level, we always sell it off instead of keeping it and say, okay, this is a black award that we can celebrate ourselves. So speak on that and why we don't have our own awards by this point, 2021.
Well, I would say that I bet if we look around, we would find that there are awards shows that we control. They're just not on TV, right? But to your point, though, that temptation to sell something, I can understand that because white folks have a lot of money and they can bid very high prices for the things that they want to invest in, and they have a deep desire to own and control everything. Capitalism builds a lot of greed into it, where people, you just literally want to own everything. You want to control everything. So if they see something popping in our community that all black folks are influenced by, then it's nothing for white folks who have easy access to capital to come along and say, okay, I'll give you $300 million for this asset that's maybe only making you $10 million a year, but I can turn it into a $50 million a year asset. That's why I'm bidding such an outrageous amount of money. And then you become tempted to sell. So the only time that selling won't occur is when we stop believing that an asset's only value is how much money it can make. There are various forms of capital, and most capital is not financial. There's also social capital, reputational capital. There's legacy capital. There's all these other forms of capital where if you acknowledge that, then what you'll say is, I know that my award show could really go to the next level if I sell it to this guy over here, but it means so much to the people who follow this that it's very important that we maintain control over this for national security purposes, right? There are certain assets in the United States that foreign countries cannot buy because no matter how much money they bid, because they say, look, it's too important for us to control this. We must control this, right? In China, there are certain companies you can't buy. No, you can come with a $10 trillion. You can't buy it because they say, no, we got this. We need to control this. So for Black people, I would like to ask you this. What asset in your community do you have that has no price, that has no price tag? You know, Hip Hop Uncensored. You know, is there a point where you guys can get to the point where your asset has so much value to you internally that you just say, look, I'm not going to sell for any price, right? And it's up to you to decide what that looks like. Because at some point, if you get strong enough and big enough, eventually somebody does come along and offer you an insane amount of money. And you have to have a reason to say no, because if you can't find a reason, then you're going to say, okay, here, you can have it.
Good point.
And obviously that fits right into the agenda that we both know about, you know, and it's not even something I think where we have to talk about it in a sinister way, right? Like we know what it is. We know the agenda exists. And the thing is that if you control the platform, you get to decide what the values of the platforms are going to be, right? So if you're talking about the you know, Hollywood and this place, you know, where they've got some values that many of us can't relate to, then they're gonna want to support things that promote their values. Like the people that look at RuPaul and see him as a hero, I think they really feel that way, right? Like, you know, I can imagine if I was gay and I had to hide it, you know, because everybody feels like it's a bad thing to be gay. I can imagine how that must feel, right? Like think about it. You know, we all Black men. Let's say we like. Imagine if it was criminalized to like big booties, right? People thought if you like big booties, you're like a child molester. You know what I mean? Like, and you have to hide the fact that you like women's asses. That would be a terrible feeling, right? So my heart goes out to people in that category that feel that way. And there is such a thing as that gay mafia. A lot of the Black celebrities that you see rising to the top of the pile in Hollywood are people that are part of the LGBT community. That's just a fact, right? So with RuPaul getting the awards, I think it's more one of those things where it's like, it is what it is. Is it something to be mad about? Well, I guess so. If you want those same awards, what I'm saying is maybe you just don't want those awards. Maybe y'all can have all of that, right? But we're going to build something over here that's a little bit more consistent with our culture and who we are. But I also encourage the Black community to not reject people in the LGBT community, because you got a lot of strong Black people that happen to be gay by no fault of their own, who are as pro-Black as they come, you know, and the only thing that makes them different, in my view, is they don't wear their sexuality on their sleeve, right? Like Lil Nas X is an embarrassment to a lot of gay people I know. I got gay people in my family who say, man, this dude's embarrassing because he's making people think that every gay person wants to fuck everything that moves, that they want to go twerking in prison, that they want to do debaucherous shit in front of children. And that doesn't represent the gay people that I know. You know, it's like what I do in the bedroom is what I do in the bedroom. And it doesn't even have anything to do with our conversation right now. James Baldwin was that guy. James Baldwin was the guy who said, why do you care that I'm gay? Who cares who I'm sleeping with? Like, we're here to talk about the Black community. And I think that is a valid perspective, right? A lot of people don't really want sex to kind of be the first thing I know about you. I really don't need that to be I really want to know you as a human being, not what you fucked last night.
Fact. Great point.
Yeah, definitely. I want to move on to this. And I got a couple more questions, but I'm going to start with this one. We talk on the podcast a lot, you know, about our counterparts and a lot of people being buffoons, you know, whether it be actors, rappers, you know, cooning, dancing, spinning on their head. And we always, you know, pride ourselves with coming with a professional, mature, manly approach. Like our show's more so for grown men. But I want to talk about a post that you made a few weeks ago. You put the masculine, intelligent Black males a threat to the oppressor. The males that are not threats are those who are immature, ignorant, cowardly, comical, feminine. That's why these are the men that you tend to see on TV. Could you elaborate?
Yeah, it goes back to slavery. They've been scared of the Black man since we got off the slave ship, and they realized that we have big muscles and big dicks, and also a lot of us are very intelligent. So think about that. Imagine if you got your woman and you see a man that's bigger than you, stronger than you, smarter than you, and has a bigger dick than you, and your woman is looking at that man. How are you going to feel? I don't know about y'all, but it would piss me off, right? I'd be like, hey, you over there, right? That's just real, right? It's truth. So they've always been intimidated by us. And the other thing too is that when you look at any revolution in the history of this world, those revolutions were led by strong, high testosterone males who were courageous and ambitious. It doesn't mean the women didn't play an important role. Women always play an important role in everything that we do. We need our women 100% of the time. Our women are the baddest, toughest women on the planet. But you need your men too. And a lot of the women I know, they naturally will gravitate into a space where the man is kind of taking the physical lead, because men have physical gifts and tools that women don't necessarily have. And we have certain chemical balances that make us a little more aggressive in certain spaces. So there are women that are begging us to really become what we're meant to be, to really truly embrace our role as kings and leaders, and to do it in a responsible and intelligent way. And so the black woman is waiting for the black man to really, and all of us in our entirety as a collective, to really take our place on the throne. Also, the white man fears that, right? Because if you look at the history of any group of people that's conquered another group of people, you first people you kill are the strongest men and the smartest men. And then that leaves the women vulnerable. You can go fuck the women and enslave the children, right? That has been true for 100,000 years. It's true in America right now today. So a lot of the conquering of the black community is not so much just physical. Some of it is, right? We know the police state is real. The prison industrial complex is real. That's why if you ever want to see some of the strongest, smartest brothers ever, just go visit a prison, and you'll see men in those prisons who should have been CEOs, who would have become, candidates for president of the United States, who would have become, high-level mathematicians, right? But instead, they're using that brilliance to figure out how to make spaghetti in a prison toilet, or whatever the fuck they got to do to live in these horribly inhumane conditions, right? But if you really look at this in general, the conquering of black people is psychological. Again, if you read books like Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson, he explains that if you go back 300 years, you will see that there was a very specific and deliberate effort to psychologically control black people, particularly black men. Even when Joe Louis was a heavyweight champion of the world, they had a long list of rules for him. Like you can't, you have to look down. You can't walk with your chest out and your head held up high. You can't stand over your opponent. You can't be seen in public with a white woman. Why would they make all those rules? Well, it's because they understand that if a black man truly embraces and understands his potential, he can become a tremendous threat to other people. And so to some extent, I think that the black man, I think we're loved and hated at the same time. They love us like the same way somebody loves a dog or a zookeeper loves the zoo animals, right? So you got this big lion or this big bear, and this big bear could literally crush the trainer like in one second. So you got to do everything you can to let the bear know who's boss. Right? The bear must believe that the trainer is more powerful, because once the bear realizes, hey, I can kill everybody in here in a second, then it's over, right? And then what happens when the bear does realize that? What happens when the elephant runs out into the stands and says, fuck this shit, I'm getting out of here? Well, what do? They pull out the gun, they shoot the elephant. They shoot the bear. You have to, right? So for the black man, when you realize your potential, they are going to come and try to kill you. Like sometimes it's physically, sometimes it might be psychologically, sometimes it might be spiritually, sometimes it might be covert, and by putting something in your damn food that you don't even know. Sometimes it may be culturally. If I train you to follow the booty and the bling and the drugs or whatever, then I can easily take you out. Think about this, right? If I want to control a wild animal, I shoot him with a dart and he's drugged up. Now I can control this big rhinoceros because he's on drugs, so he doesn't know what's going on. So now we can put him in the cage. Well, the black man is that big rhinoceros. If I'm putting out music like Molly Percocet, and you think that your goal is to stay high and drunk as much as possible, well, then it's easy for me to lock you up or kill you, because you're not going to be alert. You're not going to be ready to fight. You're not going to be prepared for battle, because your mind is somewhere else. So black men have to be aware of these things. And that little post that you're referring to, basically kind of the blueprint to help people understand why some black people become famous and others do not. And once you understand that, then you can realize that the only thing that we can do is develop alternative systems and processes so that we can create our own superheroes so that we're not just worshiping some flimsy little punk ass man that they put on TV. And we're saying, no, that's not my leader. That's not my hero. The hero my children are looking up to is this other guy over here that we see on YouTube, because mainstream media will never accept him.
Great point. Yeah, you went in today, man. That's all I got, man. I'm gonna say the rest for next time. It was a great. You gave us 2 today. Appreciate it, though, man. Got Dr. Boyce Watkins on the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. Drop everything, man. Your social media, your business website, and anything else you want to say. The floor is open.
Okay, if people want to check me out, they can get a free copy of my book by going to allblackeconomics.com. That's allblackeconomics.com. Second of all, the All Black National Convention happens at the end of October. I know you two brothers are going to be there. I cannot wait to see you guys in person. We also got a lot of other great people. Queen Afua, who's a health expert, is going to be there. Brother Nuri Muhammad is giving one of the keynotes. Rizza Islam's rolling through. Maj Touré from Black Guns Matter. We got a lot of really smart black folks. Julian Gordon, a real estate expert, who did the thing with Earn Your Leisure. They're InvestFest. So a lot of really smart brothers and sisters coming together in Orlando the weekend of October 29th. So if people want to learn more about that, they can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com.
Indeed. We definitely appreciate your time, Dr. Boyce Watkins on the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. It's probably one of my favorite sessions we had with you out of the million we've had thus far, and the million we're going to have in the future, man. Thank you so much, Dr. Boyce Watkins. Until next time, salute.
Right on, brothers. Thank you for the compliment, man. I appreciate that. I'm honored by that.
Nah, it's all ours, brother.